Across 30 years of Mortal Kombat, 42 different arenas have featured stage fatalities, environmental kills that became as iconic as the characters themselves. From the acid-melting Deadpool to multi-trap death chambers, these stages have evolved from simple uppercut-activated deaths to insane interactive environments with multiple fatality options. And today, I'm breaking down every single arena with stage fatalities. Starting with a classic, Deadpool. The Deadpool arena first appeared in Mortal Kombat 2 as a hazardous stage, featuring a bubbling green acid pool in the background, where players could perform a stage fatality by uppercutting the opponent into the acid, causing their flesh to dissolve rapidly, leaving only a skeleton that sinks and then resurfaces with a grotesque bubbling effect. This stage returned in multiple subsequent games, including Mortal Kombat 3 and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, maintaining the acid dissolution mechanic, but with enhanced graphics showing more detailed melting of skin and muscles. In Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, it became a death trap arena where proximity to the edge automatically triggered the fatality if the opponent was knocked in. Emphasizing the corrosive green liquid's role in stripping away organic matter layer by layer, Mortal Kombat 9 revisited the stage with a nighttime variant where the uppercut sends the victim splashing into the pool, their body convulsing as the acid eats through clothing, flesh, and bone over several agonizing seconds, accompanied by screams and steam rising from the surface. This definitely didn't give me nightmares as a kid. In Mortal Kombat X, it was updated with a more viscous acid that not only dissolves but also causes explosive bubbling around the victim's form, highlighting the arena's consistent theme as one of the series' most iconic environmental kill zones since its debut over 30 years ago. But it's not the only classic one. The Pit 2. Introduced in Mortal Kombat 2, the Pit 2 is a vertical chasm stage with a massive drop, allowing stage fatalities where the winner uppercuts the loser off the edge, resulting in a long fall ending in spikes that impale the body with blood splattering upon impact. It is one of the earliest interactive environmental kills in the series, which made it such a classic. This arena returned in Mortal Kombat Trilogy with the same mechanic, but added sound effects of wind rushing and screams echoing during the descent, enhancing the sense of height and peril in its multi-level design overlooking a dark abyss. How terrifying. In Mortal Kombat 9, it appeared as a day variant with brighter lighting, revealing jagged rock formations along the walls, where the fatality involves the opponent plummeting hundreds of feet to be skewered on upward-pointing spikes, their body twitching briefly before going limp, a nod to the original simplicity but with improved animations showing realistic physics. The stage's historical significance lies in popularizing stage fatalities beyond character-specific moves, influencing level design in later fighting games, and it was ported to home consoles like SNES and Sega Genesis, with censorship options to reduce gore. Variations include a night version in MK9, where fog and shadows obscure the bottom until the fatal impact, adding tension, and the arena has been referenced in spin-offs like Mortal Kombat, Shaolin Monks as a traversal point. Combat Tomb. Debuting in Mortal Kombat 2, the Combat Tomb is an ancient underground chamber filled with ominous statues and lit by torches, featuring a stage fatality where the opponent is uppercutted into ceiling spikes that pierce through their body from above, causing blood to drip down as the corpse hangs momentarily before falling. This stage reappeared in Mortal Kombat 4 with 3D graphics, maintaining the spike impalement but adding rotational camera angles to show the full gore from multiple perspectives, including the victim's limbs flailing during the ascent. In Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, it served as a death trap arena, automatically activating if the loser was positioned near the spiked area, with the mechanism crushing the body against the points in a more brutal, multi-piercing fashion. The tomb's lore ties it to the Elder God's resting place, with hieroglyphs depicting past tournaments, and it was included in compilations like Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection with high-definition remastering that preserved the dim, eerie atmosphere. In Mortal Kombat Armageddon, the fatality was enhanced with environmental interactions like crumbling stone, emphasizing the arena's decaying, cursed nature dating back to the series' arcade origins. Living Forest. The Living Forest stage was first introduced in Mortal Kombat 2 as a dense animated woodland with carnivorous trees and eerie fog, where stage fatalities involve throwing or uppercutting the opponent into a tree's gaping mouth, which then chews and swallows them whole, with branches writhing and blood oozing from the bark. It returned in Mortal Kombat 3 with minor updates to tree animations, showing more detailed mastication where the victim's limbs protrude briefly before being pulled in, tying into the forest's lore as a realm of Outworld's monstrous flora. In Mortal Kombat Deception, it featured as a death trap with multiple trees capable of the attack, and Conquest Mode explored its backstory as a living entity trapping souls. Mortal Kombat 9 remade it with interactive elements like falling leaves and distant howls, where the fatality has the tree's jaws snapping shut on the upper body, grinding bones audibly while the lower half dangles and is eventually devoured. The stage appeared in Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks as a playable level with co-op elements leading to similar environmental deaths, and in Mortal Kombat 1, it was reimagined with bioluminescent plants, maintaining the tree fatality but adding vine entanglements for prolonged suffering. Historically, the Living Forest represents the series' blend of fantasy horror, appearing in over 15 titles and inspiring merchandise like tree replicas, with its fatality mechanic evolving from 2D sprites to full 3D models without altering the core predatory theme. The Street. Originating in Mortal Kombat 2, the Street is an urban nighttime alleyway with chain-link fences and distant city lights, allowing stage fatalities by uppercutting the opponent into a nearby wall-mounted fan that shreds their body into bloody pieces, scattering limbs across the pavement in a gory display. This arena was updated in Mortal Kombat 3 with rain effects and puddles reflecting neon signs, where the fan's blades spin faster post-impact, pulling in and mulching the remains with mechanical whirring sounds. In Mortal Kombat 9, it featured a more detailed environment with graffiti-covered walls and passing cars in the background, the fatality showing the victims slammed into the fan face first, their head exploding first followed by torso dismemberment. The stage's design draws from real-world cityscapes to contrast the fantastical elements of the series, and it was censored in European versions by toning down blood sprays. It returned in Mortal Kombat 11 as a variant with modern urban decay, but the core fan fatality remained, now with sparks from metal-on-metal contact. But the most insane thing is that you've watched this far into the video and you haven't subscribed. It's free and you have to be enjoying the video if you've watched this far. Okay, e-begging over, back to the actually insane thing. The subway. The subway stage debuted in Mortal Kombat 2 as an underground train platform with rumbling tracks and dim fluorescent lights, where stage fatalities send the opponent uppercutted onto the incoming train tracks, resulting in them being run over by a speeding subway car that flattens and drags their mangled body along the rails with sparks and crunching noises. It reappeared in Mortal Kombat Trilogy with added platform details like posters and benches, enhancing the fatality with the train's headlights, illuminating the victim's final moments before impact. In Mortal Kombat 9, the stage was expanded with multiple tracks and echoing announcements, the fatality featuring the body bouncing slightly before being pulverized under the wheels, leaving a smeared trail of blood and viscera. The arena's inspiration comes from New York City subways, symbolizing chaotic urban danger in the Mortal Kombat lore, and it was included in mobile adaptations with touch controls for the uppercut input, the Netherrealm. First seen in Mortal Kombat 2, the Netherrealm is a hellish cavern with lava flows and demonic statues, enabling stage fatalities by uppercutting the opponent into a pool of molten lava, where they sink while burning alive, their skin blistering and charring as bubbles pop on the surface. This stage returned in Mortal Kombat Armageddon with 3D models of tortured souls in the background, the fatality showing prolonged immersion with the victim's outline glowing red before disintegrating into ash. In Mortal Kombat 9, it was redesigned as a fiery abyss with chains dangling from the ceiling, the lava fatality updated to have the body thrashing in agony for several seconds, emitting smoke and the smell implied through visual steam. The Netherrealm's thematic role as the realm of the damned ties directly to the series' mythology, introduced by creators Ed Boon and John Tobias as a nod to supernatural horror. The Pit 3. The Pit 3 debuted in Mortal Kombat 3 as a spiked bottom chasm similar to earlier pits, but with a more ominous red glow, where stage fatalities involve uppercutting the loser into the depths, impaling them on numerous spikes with blood erupting from multiple wounds upon landing. This stage was included in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 with faster descent animations, emphasizing the height's terror through prolonged falling screams. In ports like SNES and Genesis, the gore was intact via codes, showing the body skewered in a star shape. The Pit 3's design evolved the series' bottomless pit trope, serving as a neutral tournament arena in lore. Bell Tower. The Bell Tower stage first appeared in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 as a tall, rickety structure with wooden beams and a bell at the top, allowing stage fatalities where the uppercut sends the opponent crashing through multiple floors, landing on basement spikes that pierce their body in a multi-layered fall. In Mortal Kombat Armageddon, it was updated with 3D architecture, the fatality showing progressive breakage of planks, and a rat scurrying away with a severed limb post-impalement, adding macabre humor. The input remains a standard uppercut near the edge, with the descent taking about 5 seconds to build suspense through screams and cracking wood. Scorpion's Lair. Introduced in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Scorpion's Lair is a volcanic cave tied to the Spectre Ninja Scorpion, featuring a stage fatality where the opponent is uppercutted into a river of lava, their body igniting and melting as they flail in the heat, with molten rock filling orifices. In Mortal Kombat 9, the fatality was refined with the victim's head forced into the flow first, burning the face off while the body convulses, eye sockets leaking lava for 4-5 seconds of agony. The stage's lore connects to Scorpion's hellish origins, and it appeared in Mortal Kombat 1 with updated graphics showing geothermal vents, maintaining the immersion mechanic but adding steam bursts. Prison. The prison arena was introduced in Mortal Kombat 4 as a grim cell block with barred windows and flickering lights, featuring a stage fatality where the opponent is thrown into a massive wall fan that grinds their body into mincemeat, with blades whirring loudly as blood and chunks fly out. This stage returned in Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition with portable graphics preserving the dismemberment effect, adding echoes of screams bouncing off concrete walls. The prison's lore connects to incarceration themes in the Mortal Kombat universe, such as characters like Kano being held there. Goro's Lair. Debuting in Mortal Kombat 4, Goro's Lair is a torch-lit, cavernous throne room associated with the four-armed Shokan warrior Goro, where stage fatalities uppercut the opponent into ceiling spikes that stab downward through their torso, causing immediate hemorrhage and collapse. This stage returned in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance as a death trap, automatically triggering the spike impalement if knocked upward, with added details like Goro's throne in the background rumbling. In Mortal Kombat X, a variant appeared with modern lighting, but the core mechanics stayed true to the original, showing the body pinned and blood pooling on the stone floor. Dark Prison. First appearing in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, the Dark Prison is a shadowy dungeon with imprisoned souls visible in cells, functioning as a death trap where knocking the opponent into the cell bars triggers crushing by the walls, squeezing their body until organs burst. In Mortal Kombat Deception, it was expanded with ghostly apparitions, the trap activating automatically near the edge, pressing the victim layer by layer with cracking bones audible. The stage's lore involves eternal torment for fallen warriors, designed for the 3D engine's advanced interactions. Dragon King's Temple. The Dragon King's Temple stage debuted in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance as an ancient ruin with dragon statues, featuring a death trap where the opponent is hurled into a bottomless void, falling eternally with wind howling and fading screams into darkness. In Deception, it was updated with crumbling pillars, the trap sending the body tumbling downstairs into the abyss, body hitting ledges for added bruising before vanishing. The temple's historical context ties to Anaga, the Dragon King, as a sacred outworld site from lore established in earlier games. Hell's Foundry. Introduced in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Hell's Foundry is an industrial hellscape with conveyor belts and molten metal vats, where death traps include dunking the opponent into lava, melting their form instantly with sizzling flesh and evaporating blood. In Deception, multiple traps were added, such as being crushed by a descending hammer or fed into gears that grind the body to paste. The stage's design blends factory horror with infernal themes, inspired by Dante's Inferno for the Mortal Kombat narrative. Kuatan Palace. Kuatan Palace first appeared in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance as an opulent outworld hall with spiked chandeliers, enabling a death trap where the chandelier falls and impales the opponent from above, pinning them with multiple prongs through the chest and limbs. In Deception, the trap was refined with the structure swaying before dropping, blood spraying as the body is hoisted upward. The palace's lore positions it as a royal execution chamber for Shao Kahn's court, with golden accents contrasting the violence. Lava Falls. Lava Falls, introduced in Mortal Kombat Deception, is a treacherous volcanic arena characterized by cascading rivers of molten lava flowing down rocky cliffs, creating a hazardous environment where combatants must navigate narrow ledges and avoid fiery geysers erupting from the ground. The death trap mechanic activates when the opponent is knocked into the lava stream, typically via an uppercut or throw near the edge, resulting in the victim's body being engulfed by the scorching liquid, their skin blistering and peeling away in layers as they scream in agony, muscles dissolving next to expose bone that eventually crumbles into ash amidst bubbling magma. This stage draws from Outworld's infernal landscapes in the Mortal Kombat lore, symbolizing the chaotic and destructive nature of the realms. The Baton Jungle. The Baton Jungle, debuting in Mortal Kombat Deception, is a lush, overgrown wilderness filled with carnivorous plants, twisting vines, and dense foliage that hides deadly pitfalls, serving as an evolution of the living forest concept with more interactive hazards. The death trap triggers when the opponent is propelled into a cluster of massive animated vines and pitcher plants near the arena's edge, where tendrils wrap around the victim's limbs, pulling them into a gaping maw that secretes digestive acids, slowly dissolving their body from the outside in. This arena's lore positions it within Earthrealm's hidden jungles, corrupted by Outworld influences, where ancient spirits animate the flora to ensnare intruders. The Executioner. Introduced in Mortal Kombat Deception, The Executioner is a medieval-style torture chamber equipped with guillotines, nooses, and iron maidens lining the walls, evoking a grim dungeon atmosphere with flickering torchlight and chains dangling from the ceiling. The death trap engages when the opponent is knocked toward the execution devices, such as a guillotine that snaps down to decapitate them with the blade slicing cleanly through the neck, or a noose that tightens around the throat, hoisting the body upward to dangle and twitch until asphyxiation. Lore-wise, this arena is part of Shao Kahn's palace in Outworld, used for public executions of traitors and failed warriors. Red Dragon Chamber. The Red Dragon Chamber, first appearing in Mortal Kombat Deception, is a secretive underground lair adorned with dragon motifs, altars, and crimson banners, serving as the headquarters for the Red Dragon clan, led by Dagon. The death trap initiates when the opponent is thrown near the central altar, causing floor spikes emblazoned with dragon symbols to erupt upward, impaling the victim through the torso and limbs with multiple punctures. In lore, this chamber represents the clan's ancient rivalry with the Black Dragon, with added environmental details like chanting cultists in the background. The Armory. Debuting in Mortal Kombat Deception, the Armory is a weapon-filled forge with anvils, racks of blades, and swinging pendulums, blending industrial clangs with the heat of glowing forges in an outworld setting. The death trap activates upon knocking the opponent into the pendulum area, where massive blades swing down to bisect the victim vertically or horizontally, slicing through flesh with halves separating as blood sprays. Lore connects it to Outworld's military production, where enslaved smiths craft arms for Shao Kahn's armies. Falling Cliffs. Falling Cliffs, introduced in Mortal Kombat Deception, is a precarious mountainside arena with eroding edges and gusting winds, overlooking vast chasms in Outworld's rugged terrain. The death trap triggers when the opponent is uppercutted off the cliff, causing a section to crumble and bury them under cascading rocks, bones crunching as boulders crush the body into a pulpy mass. Dynamic erosion animations were added in Armageddon, with the cliff breaking progressively during fights. Fire Well. The Fire Well, first seen in Mortal Kombat Deception, is a deep pit encircled by flames, with stone platforms over an infernal abyss in the Netherrealm. The death trap sends the opponent plummeting into the fiery depths via uppercut, body igniting mid-fall with skin charring, screams fading as they vanish into the glow. Lore links it to hellish punishments for damned souls, with automatic trigger near edges for strategic positioning. Shirai Ryu Fire Cave. Shirai Ryu Fire Cave in Mortal Kombat Deception is a lava-lit cavern tied to Scorpion's clan, with geysers and rocky outcrops. Death Trap erupts flames from vents, engulfing the victim in fire that burns through layers to skeleton. Lore establishes it as the clan's hidden base, destroyed in Scorpion's backstory, adding emotional weight to battles fought there. Evil Tower. Evil Tower, exclusive to Mortal Kombat Armageddon, is a sinister spire with storm clouds and lightning rods atop a dark citadel. Death Trap strikes the opponent with a lightning bolt, charring and exploding the body in electrical arcs. Lore suggests it as a sorcerer's lair, possibly Quan Chi's, with the stormy atmosphere creating an ominous mood enhanced by flashing thunder and booming sound effects. Sub-Zero's Lair. Sub-Zero's Lair in Mortal Kombat Armageddon is an icy fortress with frozen spikes and blizzards, home to the Lin Kuei Cryomancer. Death Trap freezes the victim in ice, then shatters them on spikes, pieces scattering like glass. Lore positions it as Sub-Zero's sanctuary post-clan reform, with the cold-themed contrast to the series' typical fire-based hazards providing visual and thematic variety. Kahn's Arena. Kahn's Arena in Mortal Kombat Armageddon is Shao Kahn's Grand Coliseum with crowds, grinders, and spikes. Multiple death traps include acid dips, melting flesh, or spike pits, impaling victims. Lore establishes it as the tournament ground since the original Mortal Kombat, with cheering spectators and grinding gears creating atmosphere. The varied trigger options give players multiple strategic death options. Hell. Hell Stage in Mortal Kombat 9 is a demonic expanse with fire rivers and tortured souls. Stage fatality uppercuts into flames, body writhing and burning eternally with character-specific input commands at close range. Lore establishes it as the Netherrealm's core, with infernal glow and agonized cries creating the ultimate hellish battleground that returned in various forms throughout the series. Cove. The Cove in Mortal Kombat X is a stormy coastal dock with crashing waves. Stage fatality slams opponent onto jagged rocks, body breaking with waves dragging remains, using forward, back, forward block input at mid-range. Lore establishes it as a smuggling bay, with some variants featuring tentacle grabs that slam victims twice before bursting their necks underwater, added in the XL update. Refugee Camp. Refugee Camp in Mortal Kombat X is a war-ravaged camp with tents and soldiers. Stage Fatality calls machine gun fire from background soldiers, shredding the body to bits using down-forward block input at mid-range. Lore establishes it as an Earthrealm conflict zone, with the controversial realistic warfare theme making it one of the more disturbing environmental kills in the series. Shaolin Trap Dungeon. Shaolin Trap Dungeon in Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath is a booby-trap temple with blades and pits. Stage Fatality activates swinging axes that dice the body into pieces, using down-down-back-down input at close range. Lore establishes it as a monk training ground, with blade slices and flying limbs creating a mechanical horror aesthetic that fits the temple's deadly training purpose. Tournament. The tournament in Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath is a spectator arena with arcade machines. Stage Fatality drops a massive arcade machine on the opponent, crushing them while the screen displays Fatality in a meta reference using up, back up, punch input at close range. Lore serves as a tournament nod to the series' arcade origins, with cheering crowds and broken electronics creating a nostalgic yet brutal atmosphere. The Pit, M-Cone variant. The Pit in Mortal Kombat 1 is a reimagined chasm with spikes below, set in Liu Kang's new timeline. Stage Fatality uppercuts into depths for impalement, body skewered with blood using down, forward, down block input at close range. Lore establishes it as the classic execution site rebooted for the new era, with ethereal glows and ragdoll physics updating the legacy arena for modern audiences while maintaining its iconic status as the series' most famous environmental hazard. Lumber Mill. The Lumber Mill stage debuted in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance as a saw-filled workshop with whirring blades, where Death Trap saw the opponent bisected by a descending log splitter or fed into circular saws that sliced them horizontally, spraying wood chips mixed with gore. Deception added a conveyor belt feeding into the blades for chained dismemberments. Inspired by real sawmills but exaggerated for horror, it ties to Earthrealm industrial backdrops in lore. The Cliffs. Introduced in Mortal Kombat Deception, the Cliffs is a windy precipice with jagged rocks below, featuring a death trap where the opponent is knocked off the edge to splatter on the rocks hundreds of feet down, body breaking on impact with limbs detaching. The stage's multi-tier design allows stage transitions, enhancing the fall's realism with ragdoll physics. Lore-wise, it's an outworld border area for perilous duels. The Mines. The Mines Arena in Mortal Kombat. Deception is a cavernous dig site with carts and dynamite, offering 3 death traps, impalement by falling stalactites, crushing by a runaway minecart, or explosion from triggered TNT that blasts the body apart in fiery chunks. Each trap requires specific positioning, with the stalactite one piercing from above like rain. The stage's industrial theme contrasts underground darkness, tied to resource extraction in Outworld lore. Sky Temple. Sky Temple first appeared in Mortal Kombat Deception as a floating sanctuary with bottomless drops, where death traps send the opponent plummeting through clouds to unseen doom, with the body vanishing amid lightning flashes. The aerial perspective adds disorientation, with wind gusts affecting movement. Lore connects it to divine realms guarded by gods. The trap triggers on edge knockoffs, no input needed. Yin Yang Island. Yin Yang Island in Deception is a balanced paradise with dual pitfalls. Death traps including sinking into quicksand like Yin Pit or burning in Yang flames, body dissolving or charring respectively. The philosophical design reflects harmony in destruction, triggers via throws near pits. The stage symbolizes the series' yin-yang violence theme, with its balanced design contrasting the brutal fatalities. Onaga's Temple. Onaga's Temple debuted in Deception as a dragon-themed sanctum with collapsing ceilings, death trap where rocks crush the opponent into paste, bones crunching under weight. Tied to villain Onaga's resurrection plot, the stage serves as his power base. Automatic activation near altar makes positioning crucial for avoiding the crushing death. Nexus. The Nexus in Deception is a realm-crossing hub with portals, death traps sucking victim into a vortex, body twisting and imploding, represents multiverse connections in lore, serving as a crossroads between realms. Triggers by positioning near the dimensional tiers, with the abstract design praised for innovation in arena concepts. Acid Falls. Acid Falls in Deception features cascading corrosive waterfalls, death trap drowning and dissolving the body in acid stream, flesh peeling in layers. Environmental flow adds realism to the chemical horror, with the continuous stream creating a natural hazard that fits the arena's flow. Chamber of the Flame. Chamber of the Flame in Deception and MK9 has rotating labyrinths with spears, crushers, and flames. 3 fatalities, spearing into quarters, pillar crush, melting to skeleton, inputs via buttons post-uppercut distinguish it from automatic death traps. Ancient torture chamber lore fits the series' dark mythology, updated for 2.5D in MK9. That is every single MK arena with stage fatalities. If you enjoyed this video, or think I missed any, let me know in the comments.